Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John at the Bumblegetty Podcast, episode number 23, I believe. Yes, that is correct. Episode number 23. It's been a little while. Things have been a little hectic, a little bit of traveling here and there. Um, you know, uh, the job, my regular job's been kind of crazy as well, but things are all good for the most part. This episode is going to be it's an interesting one for me um, because I have kids. I'm not with them all the time, and they're older, so they're in high school. Both of them are in high school at this point. So um, one of the things I want to talk about is, I guess, is time, right? So from a time point of view, there's a lot going on right now. So we're just a few days short of August 2020. And we're still in the COVID-19 quarantine kind of situation where you can't really go out, you can't really do a whole lot of things. That is, if you're listening, to what we're being asked to do. Um, One of the things that continues to come up as school gets closer is about how parents are going to cope and manage their time. So I'm going to look at my phone a little bit, but I won't look at it a whole lot. But one of the things I do want to talk about is really trying to express my experience over the last couple weeks. So, without getting into too much detail, I was away with my one daughter for 2 weeks at a program that's going to, hopefully add some value and some tools, give her some tools as she goes forward in her high school career, college, and beyond. So, over those 2 weeks, I spent literally every single day with her. We were in an Airbnb, and it was small, so we had to communicate, and there were certain things that I had to do. At the same time, I was working, and again, thankfully, my job, my place of employment, and my boss and the leadership at the company were flexible enough to let me actually continue to work, and I managed my time and all that. So that's kind of secondary to the conversation. But one of the things I do want to talk about is time management as it relates to having both a career as well as having kids. So again, my kids are older, so they're a lot more self-sufficient than even I think I give them credit for. But my time spent with my daughter, and again, I don't have them all the time. I have certain times that I have visitation with them. Um, One of the biggest things that I found is that I didn't realize how much time is consumed, right? So during this time away, it was only 2 weeks, and I'm able to work basically any hours I want as long as I'm get my work done. And again, there was an understanding. So I spent some time going back and forth. So I had to drop her off every morning, and then I had to come back and get my work done, and then I had to go back and um, and pick her up for lunch, and then spend roughly an hour with her, whether we went back to the place that we were staying at or if we were actually going to just go out to lunch. So that hour itself was consumed. So I'm roughly talking, an hour, probably an hour and a half when you really think about it for lunch, just based on time of commute, the time she got out, and whatnot. So I then dropped her back off right around 1 o'clock, went back, and it was only a few minute ride to and from where we were staying from where she had to be. But then I had to go back and be at the program at 3:30 every day. A couple days I had to be there. I think one day I had to be there earlier, and there were also meetings and stuff in between. So out of the course of the day, I mean, there were days where I ended up having to work until I think one night I worked until like 11 o'clock at night, which again is not a problem. I'm very thankful for everything I'm able to do and continue to hold the job and whatnot. So, and I have a great team as well to support me. So that being said, um, it took some time out of my day. So it definitely felt different for me. Um, and again, I'm not complaining. I'm just using for instances here. So when I went to pick her up or drop her off, that took time out of my day. Again, not complaining about it. It's just I'm trying to get to a point here. And this is all part of the bumbling Eddie. So it might take me a little bit of time to actually get to the root of what I'm talking about. But I cannot imagine what it is like being a parent with younger kids that aren't so self-reliant. All I had to do was drop her off and pick her up, and she was able to do everything else she wanted to do. And I was very happy to spend time with her. She got to hear some of the conversations I had. So it was a lot of building, like relationship building, which I really did enjoy. Um, but being a parent of older kids, and I guess what the conversation I want to allude to or kind of get to is how I don't understand how parents are going to be able to manage their career, manage the expectations that they have at work. Because again, a lot of places are still open. And if you work from home, that you're very, very lucky. If you have a job like myself, very, very lucky. The times right now are very, very strange, but it allows us to still have an income and still provide that value to our place of employment. So it took time out of my day. And I've seen a lot of things on social media. I actually have a good friend of mine, his wife, I consider her a good friend as well. And I'll see if I can pull this up while I'm still talking. But I also had time to talk to my sister about the fact that how hard it is to manage your career and also manage the expectations of your child. So they're at home, they're going to, they're in their environment. They might want to watch TV. They might want to, ride their bicycle. They might want to, who knows, listen to music, go outside, play around. Or in the case of my nephew, go out and ride one of his, I guess 4 motorcycles, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers. So it's an interesting time where me as dad, and again, I didn't have a whole lot of time with my kids, and I give my ex-wife a lot of credit for being able to get through all this is the way she did. So, um, if you're listening to this, thank you for doing what you did for the kids. But one of the things that really struck me, so I'll just say, my friend, she lives down the street. If she listens to it or her husband listens to it, she's a Gators fan. So I'm wearing the LSU national championship shirt here. But one of the things she wrote on social media really struck a chord with me because I didn't understand it at the time. But this is stuck in my head I guess over the course of the last 2 weeks, is that she wrote, digesting the proposed upcoming school year and faced with every mother's dream. So I guess you could replace that with every parent's dream. Fail your children or fail your career. So for me, that really struck a chord because I know how important I take my career. I guess I know how seriously I take my own career, and I know that she does, as well as her husband. And um, I think we all have some flexibility, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're all doing the right thing for everyone. And now we're in a position where I don't know how you can do the right thing for everyone. So I don't know the answer to this. I do know that I had a rude awakening. So, for single parents, or even, homes that you have multiple children or even one child and you're both working from home, I give you a lot of credit because there's a lot of stuff that you have to do. Now, at the same time, I do understand online learning and virtual learning and all that. I did a lot of that for both my undergrad and my graduate degree. But this puts a lot of us in a predicament. So I've seen a lot of people that have been laid off, through LinkedIn and other social media, um, I guess, platforms that have come out and said, look, I lost my job. I'm fine. Maybe they're a teacher, or maybe they wanted to be a teacher, or they can't get a job as a teacher, or whatever the case is. They're all kind of coming together and saying, hey, I can help out, whether it's virtually, or if, you see all these things where, a teacher might show up at a student's house and they're outside and they have a big piece of cardboard and they're actually doing math problems or whatever. I think this is a time, I think this is an opportunity for community to come together. And certainly anyone who's listening to this, and I know I have a lot of friends that listen to this. I don't really know how big my audience is, but I do get some pretty good feedback. I may not be the smartest person. Um, I'm definitely not the most intelligent person. However, I think I'm like a pretty big people person. Um, so if there's anyone out there that needs help, even if you're not local here or you don't know me and you want help with your child, I'm down to help. Um, I don't know what that's going to do for you. I don't know what that's going to do for your child, but sometimes, at least I know for my own kids, my kids will not listen to me. But if you, let's see, if I have a friend or someone I know who's a teacher or someone who's able to do things, and maybe a good communicator. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to be able to do calculus and all that other kind of stuff. I don't remember any of that. Actually, I really struggled with that. I'm not going to lie. So, but anything else, if it's a task, if it's, spelling, anything like that, let me know. If I can help, I will. But the point of this podcast is that I think we all need to kind of take a step back and realize that, I think I mentioned this in previous podcasts, is that you don't know what people are going through, right? So people might be short with their kids. People might be short, with their significant other. They might be short with their family. There's a lot of really crazy things going on, and we're all trying to navigate this the best way we can. So as you look forward and as you continue to move forward with whatever is thrown at us and however it is this all looks at the end, whenever the end is, um, just know that there are people out there to help, and it doesn't hurt to ask. So if you're on social media, throw a question out there. Say, hey, does anyone have any time to help out? Because there's people like me. I didn't really get, again, not to get too far into it, I didn't really have a whole lot of opportunity to work with my own kids for the last several years, um, because of my situation. That doesn't mean I'm not willing to help. And for my own kids, and that's something I learned over the last 2 weeks, is that no matter how much you want something for your own kid, it doesn't really, what you say to your own kid may not hold a lot of weight. So if maybe someone else can chip in, and I think this is where that whole, it takes a village, to raise a child. And also parents, reach out. I'll help you, whatever. There's a lot of things that you can do to try to keep yourself in a good state of mind. Life is so stressful. I completely understand it. um, you're in your house all the time, and if you're lucky enough to be able to go to your place of employment and get a little bit of time away, that's great as well. But for those parents out there that are really struggling, reach out, ask for help from your friends, from your high school friends, from college friends, from family, anyone who's willing to help. And it may be after hours, and I don't know what everyone's school situation is going to be like. I don't know if you have to be, um, it, you know how it's going to work virtually, whether it's going to be live, you know teaching or anything like that. But it's going to give you the opportunity. um, I take all this as a learning process for me. So I find a lot of opportunity in a lot of things that are just different. I've learned different my entire life. I was, for those of you who may not really know me very well, I'm pretty vocal with the fact that I was told a lot that I was just a failure. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't good enough to do. Um, I wasn't good enough to go to college. I wasn't smart enough to go to college. I should go in the military so I could be on the front lines because I don't have anything else to add. And I think I've done pretty well in my career. I mean, I'm not nearly done, and there's a lot of things I still want to do. But let's try to build everyone up. Let's take this opportunity to say, hey, maybe this is the teaching of the future. And these children, and these young adults that are even in high school. I know, again, for me, I took a lot of virtual classes. Actually, I took mostly all virtual classes for both my undergrad and my graduate degree, but that worked for me. And because we as parents didn't learn that way, doesn't mean that your kids can't learn that way. And kids are resilient as well. I know this may not be popular in a lot of cases, um, but in coaching children and umpiring baseball and all that kind of stuff, you would be very surprised what your kids are capable of. Um, but yeah, reach out to other people. People are going to be willing to help. And whether it's someone maybe that you go, that you've played sports with in the past, maybe, there's a CEO out there that's willing to put a little bit of time in and help out. And, it's going to be a lot more than learning, um, reading and writing and arithmetic, right? So it's also learning how to communicate with other people. That might be one of the biggest advantages that we have right now, is to have, even though it's not face to face, but how often do you actually see your kids communicating with other people? You may not have that. I know my kids, even when I talk to them, I'm finally starting to get some FaceTime conversations. And they're in high school, both of them. It's very hard for them. They don't understand what it's like to actually have a conversation. And I'm not dogging that in any way. Give yourself a chance, give your kids a chance, and realize that you as a parent are super flexible. I mean, you took this little tiny human and helped them grow. That's a pretty amazing feat. And these little people, whether they're younger and look, I don't know what it's going to be like for first graders, second graders, or anything like that. But if I can help, ask. I'm definitely down to help. I'll be available. We'll figure out a schedule. You can reach me at thebumblingYeti@gmail.com. You can look me up on Instagram or Facebook at the Bumbling Yeti. And let's try to get this done. Let's continue to build these leaders. Let's continue to help them learn and grow as people. And with that, maybe we can teach them that people actually care about them and about humanity. So let's take this information, let's roll with it. Let's make the best of what we can. And, when I talk to people like my sister, like I said, my nephew can be demanding just like any 10-year-old or 11-year-old kid can be. That doesn't mean that they're not capable of learning. And I'll stick on the subject of my nephew. He'll sit there and he'll tell me all about dirt bikes and motorcycles and all these things. It's because he's interested in what's going on. So if we can try to somehow make it interesting for them, yeah, I think we can do this. I think we can do this together. So, I'm just really reaching out. This is an interesting subject, an interesting conversation. I know the school district here where I'm at, they have an option. You can either go virtual or you can be there physically. I guess they're going to ride that out until, something changes. But yeah, there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of opportunity. So in times like this, no matter what it is, if you look back to, just a little bit of history, and I'll keep it super loose. When the stock market crashed in 1929, kind of leveled the playing field a little bit. And it's different than education, but I think out of that, a lot of people were made very wealthy because they looked and they understood the system. So don't underestimate your kids. They're resilient and they're very bright and brilliant people, and they're going to be running the country one day. So hopefully they're running the country in a smart way and leading us down a path where we can all be proud of, and that is really up to us. So without getting too preachy, I just wanted to throw that out there. Again, parents, I can't imagine what's going through your mind. I know, at least for me, this is what makes sense to me. It may not make sense to anyone, and I could be completely off base, and I'm very, very well aware of that. So I'm interested in the dialogue. If anyone wants to be on here to kind of give me your perspective, what worries you, what you think is coming down the road, I'd love to have that conversation, because I just don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know all the ins and outs of younger kids and really how they're being taught. But I'm interested, and I'm very willing to help. But let's just be positive about it. So that being said, again, this is John at the Bumbling Yeti. This is episode 23. This is just something that's been bothering me for a little while. I didn't know how to address it because I didn't understand I wasn't part of it. So I not only listened, but I've been hearing what's been said about the concern about kids going back to school and virtual learning and how it's not the same. Maybe if we just give it a chance. They had half a year last year, at least here where I'm at. And maybe going forward, this will create more opportunities for people. I don't know, but I'm just going to stay on the positive side because positivity wins always. That being said, I'm done my rant. I'm done with the bumbling part of this. And again, feel free to reach out on social media at the Bumbling Yeti, both on Instagram and Facebook. And feel free to reach out to me via email, the Bumbling Yeti at gmail.com. And make sure you subscribe to all the platforms. So we're on a bunch of platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, Anchor, all those kind of things. And go to the bumblingyeti.com. That'll take you directly to the Anchor homepage, where you'll be able to, listen to all the past episodes and subscribe and find whatever platform that you're looking to listen on. Again, thank you so much for listening. I know this can be done. I know parents, give yourselves a lot more credit than what you're giving yourself. Career is super hard. Career is super, super hard. Raising kids is super hard. And we mess up every day. I mess up every single day. But the great thing is that you can redeem yourself. Tomorrow's another day. Take advantage of this. So thanks again, everybody. This is John at the Bumbling Yeti, episode number 23. Take care, stay healthy, stay well, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye.